Nev, the disruptor, live. Um, I don't know if I have much light in here. Let me see if I can turn on some additional lighting. Hold on. Let's put some light in there. Okay, let's see if that helps. All right, that's much better. So, welcome to Nev the Disruptor live stream. On this stream, we're going to cover uh, three main topics and one subtopic. We're going to cover politics, um, religion, and science. And my channel is modeled um, after polypolitics and pack debates from supporters. Their channel is primarily debating from supporters. My channel will be for everybody because I really believe they're missing key components of our community, especially the disenfranchised people. Right now, they are getting crucified by the rebel rousers out there, by the agent provocateurs out there. You know, they're getting crucified. I mean, if you're a transgender person, you're feeling you basically almost in hiding, you know, because of these people what they're doing, and people like that, they have hatred in their heart, and and some hatred. This is something I want to talk about maybe even tonight. But my primary concern about tonight would be covering our founding fathers' vision. So like I said, this stream again is basically modeled against politics and Parker debates Trump supporters, and those guys are excellent. They're really good at what they're doing. It's both of them have different audience to me. Parker debates support Trump supporters. That's more of a young audience, young people, and and they're almost in a cult-like mentality. Every time they have twisted morals, twisted ethics, twisted integrity. They cannot stand on any of these things. The minute you ask them to give, they want to defend Trump at all costs, and our politics was never meant for that. It was never meant to defend anybody at all costs. That's, to me, that's very dangerous, and we're in a dangerous zone where we could lose our democracy because if you're defending somebody, rebel rouser, a hate monger at all costs, you're literally using the most dangerous weapon in all of our all of our characteristics, and that's hate. Hate is very similar to cancer. It destroys everything it touches. That's how it works. So eventually it will destroy the user of hate because it destroys everything it touches. And so a lot of these young people think they're actually doing a good thing, but they are not. because they're using hate, you know, as a primary objective. They hate immigrants, they hate Democrats, they hate Biden, they hate Kamala. When you use hate, you're actually destroying yourself, because hate, like love, hate doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have sympathy. It's not loving. It's not caring. Love is healing. When you use love in any circumstance, you're healing. You're healing your inside, your internal, you know. Yeah. So that's the difference between love and hate. One destroys, one heals, you know, and they don't realize that. So a lot of people right now, they in that world where nothing matters, where they play in a game of football, where winners take all. That's the game they play. Winners take all. And life is not a game, which is, they don't realize that. Life is not a game, you know. It's far more different than the game. It's life and death. So right now they are willing to give. They're willing to sacrifice. If you listen to many of these people, they're willing to sacrifice family members. They're willing to sacrifice themselves, their children, the future of this country. You know, they don't mind sacrificing these things to win the game of politics. They have turned politics to be a game of gladiators, and the strong wins. You know, and that is really a dangerous place to be in. And that's where we're at right now. You know, we're playing a big game. For them, it's just a game. So covering of any of the current president, lack of characteristics, lack of morals, lack of ethics, is no big deal. You know, yeah, it's no big deal. It's just what it is. It gives me a chance to be on the winning side, on the winning team. But like I've said this before, and I will say it again. The biggest problem they run into is that Donald Trump doesn't care about nobody but himself and his family. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about people. If Donald Trump cared about people, he would have the greatest coalition for a Republican. He would. Just imagine. Just imagine he had put people first when he got selected by so many minority groups. He got more minority groups than any Republicans in a long time. So just imagine if he had built on that coalition and said, I'm going to put people's first. But he cannot do that, you know, for the same reason I mentioned earlier. Donald Trump doesn't like people. He doesn't see them as equal. He doesn't see just about anybody as being his equal, especially minorities. If you're a black person, if you're Latino, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Japanese, you're not on his level. You're just somebody to be there to help him, succeed. Help him. You just be there to be used and discarded at some point. You know, the only people Donald care about is rich people. That's it. If you have money and you can buy Donald Trump in any way, you're his best friend. Doesn't matter. Money doesn't have color. He doesn't see color when it comes to money. Yeah, you can pay him to. You can pay him to uh, to what you call it, to get you out of prison. He will gladly do that. I'm pretty sure Pete Diddy, if he's smart, he should be, saying some nice things about Donald Trump and let him know that, hey, I'm willing to pay. You know what? I got crucified wrongly and all that stuff, and oh, I love you, buddy. You've always been my friend. Some of the things I said, you could just say somebody convinced me to say it. That's not my true feelings. And just give Donald Trump, 6, 7, 10 million, and he'll be a free man. Yeah, because Donald Trump's primary motive is making money. And a lot of people don't want, a lot of MAGA, they don't want to realize that they're being used. Yeah. But like I said, and I will say it again, the best friend Democrats have is Donald Trump because his policies are going to destroy MAGA. They're going to destroy them. So eventually, they will have to come out of their alternate reality. Eventually. They cannot stay in that world and survive. Yeah, because most of MAGA are not making that kind of money to benefit from Donald Trump policies. They're not, you know. And another thing I will talk about on this show is religion. Religion. I am not a religious guy. My my earliest memories of religion was that when I used to be a kid, I used to starve. I would starve a lot. Folks, I just realized I didn't open the phone line. My voice. Let's see. Voice. So if anybody wants to call in. Whose voice? Okay. I'm eager to answer it. Yeah. So like I was saying, my earliest memory of religion is that's the time I used to stop the most. So I had a very disdain for religion even as a kid. Because, when you're in Seventh-day Adventist, you have that fasting period, man. And I used to hate that. I used to hate it. Yeah. So I never got to like religion, even as an adult. My mother wasn't too much of a, back then she was, but as we grew older, she got away from that as well. So we never used to go to church, after a certain time we just stopped. So she wasn't too much of a godly person either. So so I know, and as I get older, you know, I got away from religion, not because it's not because that I didn't like it. It's just because when I was in junior high school, when I came up here, when I came to America, I came like 13 years old, 14 years old, I think. So I went to junior high school, and of all my classes, the one I enjoyed the most, I mean, I was so crazy about it, was science. I was an instant connection to science. Like I was head over heels, with science, and to me, that was the best thing, man. I could have easily be a scientist if I had liked school a little more, you know, because that's what I would have pursued, but I was just in love with science, and over time, you know, I am even more in love with science now. I actually have when we get to my scientific part of this, you're gonna get a lot of controversial views. I have a lot of controversial views on science. Lots of control, like the Big Bang Theory. Is to me, it's not one Big Bang. It's an infinite number of bang. Life is always being created. Universe are always being created. Yeah. So it's not one Big Bang. It's a infinite number of bangs. And we're going to see new life forms. I can bet you about that. You know, because there are new life form on this planet. There are new life form. We just don't have a way to categorize it. So yes, yeah. And I will share with you something about the coronavirus, something actually can help prevent the coronavirus. Because I believe there are many things in nature that can cure just about any disease. We just haven't figured those things out. We're still much at the primitive stage of our development, about evolving. So yeah, so we're going to talk about science. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about the abortion issue. That's one of my biggest, one of the biggest topic in here, because many people don't know um, that a woman has over close to 2 million eggs in her body. Many people don't know that, you know. So therefore, we emphasize every egg like it's life. If a woman has an abortion, because we can see that one, what it is in what it is in a woman's body. When a woman has an abortion, that's at a stage where we can actually see the development of an egg, you know. But we are not taking any consideration of how many eggs a woman has destroyed. We have no clue. The majority of people in this world have absolutely no clue that a woman has over close to 2 million eggs in her body. And by the time she reaches puberty, she has lost over 500,000 eggs. So we don't take those things into consideration. We just don't know about it. Yeah. So that's something we're going to talk about on this channel. You know, something, Another thing we're going to talk about on this channel, I'm just going on randomly on topic, but we're going to cover a lot of those things more in depth. Another thing we're going to talk about channel is why God hates religious people. Somebody that's religious coming in channel said, what does he mean by that? Why God hates religious people? Well, first of all, many of us, just about every one of us, live in a scientific world. We basically, science is so ubiquitous and prevalent in our world. we don't take a lot of things in common. We just enjoy it to our phone. We enjoy it to the fullest. So for computers, TV, flat screen TV, no big deal. With medicine, no big deal. Medicine that can prevent death, extend our life, no big deal. So we take all these things. We basically live in a scientific world, but yet still, we have very few people, you know, entering the scientific field. We have very few people believing science is as prominent and as ubiquitous as it is. They don't recognize that. They don't recognize that what while many of our states uh, uh, have a very high number of is its population is religious. These states are doing a deplorable job of taking care of their people. So where you see a high population of religious people, you will also going to find a high population of poverty. So I ask again for anybody that's going to hear this stream and it's a religious person, why do God hate religious people? Because I've told that to people before. If I am a God and people are praying to me, I'm going to make sure they're the ones inventing just about everything because I am a God. And if I can answer prayers, that's the one thing I'm going to ensure to get more converts. I'm going to ensure that religious people are above everybody else because that's what gods do. You can watch any movie, any the most basic movie. If you're watching somebody pretends to be a god, he's going to heighten his flock. He's going to give his flock the wood, the technology, the this, the that. So again, once when religious people come on my show, I would like them to tell me why why God hates you and He loves atheists. You know, and I will give them my reason why poverty and religion go hand in hand. You know, they might not even because a lot of a lot of religious people in our country are the same people that voted for Trump. They are the same people that believe Trump is a demigod in essence because he has done one thing that most presidents couldn't do. He overturned Roe versus Wade. He stopped the killing of babies in the eyes. So for to them, they believe he's a demigod. You know, his God sent him to be this savior, and he's doing God's work. That's what. Excuse me for a minute. That's why a lot. Excuse me. That's why a lot of them are willing to ignore, and overlook that this guy has absolutely no morals, no ethics, no integrity. I remember I used to say that on Let's Show Rightful Perspective. That's a religious kind of religious. They're religious by nature. And they have that view. He can't do no wrong. They actually believe that Trump cannot do no wrong. You know. because he he has done what no other president could have done. He gave them, you know, he rewarded them by overturning Roe versus Wade. He rewarded them. Trump. He rewarded us. and and Trump feels the same way. They don't realize Trump feels the same way. Trump believes that in my first administration, I overturned Roe versus Wade. I gave you what you wanted. So in this time around, you must give me what I want. Yeah, it's tit for that. Hey, you got what you wanted in the first administration. Now this time it's my turn. You know, so you shouldn't be complaining. You shouldn't be asking for the Epstein files. You should support me at all costs because you got what you want. You got paid. I paid you. I will tell Roe versus Wade. You got your just reward. Now it's my turn. So, so that's one of the major issues we're going to be talking about on this channel, from different angles, different perspective. Because people don't have a wider enough views when it comes to that issue. They're so narrow focused. They're so blinded. Yeah. And 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 they are willing to sacrifice anything just for that one issue. Yeah. And it's it's um it's hurtful to see, just to see how destructive this thing is. It has become, and how it's destroying a lot of Republicans, especially MAGA, because they have they have complained about many things, and they went about by creating it. And one of the things they complained about for so long was the deep state. They complain about that a lot. When I laugh at Republicans and where they at right now, because when I look around and I look around like I'm looking around right now, I like, man, for years you guys complain about the deep state, this state, this. And guess what we have today? You guys created the deep state. You guys manifest. That's the right word. Manifest the deep state. So today we actually have a deep state. We have a rogue army that's unaccountable to no one. They are literally above the law. No court can hold them accountable. No judge can hold them accountable. Not even the what do you call it, the Congress people, the Congress people. Not even them can hold these people accountable. They're running around the United States and whatever they want. Yeah, they literally running around the United States and whatever. That is a deep state. Yeah, and the Republicans to thank themselves for creating the very same thing they were crying about for years. To me, that is so funny. That is so funny. They've been crying, oh, this. They don't realize is that when you don't hold people that violate our laws accountable, you're basically giving them the rights to do whatever they want. And that's what they are doing. You look at Trump. I will tell you right now, besides calling me names, all kind of names, they will come here and defend anything Trump has done. Doesn't matter what. because they don't believe in accountability. They don't. They don't. They don't believe in responsibility. Those things are buzzwords to them. Yeah, that's all they are. They're buzzwords. Yeah, they will come here and they will say anything. Another thing, I'm pretty sure they're going to come here and try to convince me. Even though it's almost 8 months after his election, I'm pretty sure they're going to come in here and try to convince me tariff is a good thing for America. As though they cannot do a simple research. They're literally going to pretend that they cannot do a simple research. A simple Google search. And they will come in and say, oh, tariff. Tariff is generating plenty of revenue for the United States. I'm 100% certain they're going to come and try to convince me tariff is generating plenty of revenue for the United States. And they're fully aware, believe me, they're fully aware that it's the American people paying the tariff. They're just playing dumb because that's the guy they love. That's the guy they're willing to sacrifice anything for. So they just want to live in that alternate reality. That's all that is. And pretend like, oh, tariff is a good thing. Oh, it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing Trump can do. And now, you know what? China is paying for the tariff. Russia, whatever. Brazil, United Kingdom, Canada. And they know tariff just makes everything more expensive for us. They know it. They're pretty well aware. This is not before the election. This is not when you were so in love with your guy. You couldn't do a simple research. Because I've gone on some of these conservative sites and let them know, hey, tariff, the American people pays for tariff. That's it. We pay for tariff. Yeah. But it's not something they want to hear because they're willing to sacrifice anything for this man. Something our founding fathers were concerned about. They were really concerned about people that's willing to ignore evidence, facts, laws, and just support an agent provocateur, a rebel rouser. They warn us about people like that. Now we have them all over. As a matter of fact, they have some of the biggest channels on YouTube. And they crucifying marginalized people. They crucify immigrants. They are crucified. They are willing to destroy. They are actually willing to destroy the founding fathers' vision. Yeah. They're willing to do that at all costs. You hear them how they talk about immigrants. When you listen to them, they talk about immigrants like subhuman beings. People that shouldn't be on this earth. Alligator Alcatraz is not even good enough for these people. So we should put them in a place where alligator can eat their ass up because it's not good enough for them. The alligators are better than these people. They are willing to peace and the founding fathers' vision that we are a nation of immigrants. They don't know what that means. They don't know the rippling effect that that vision is still doing. We're still benefiting from that vision. We're a nation of immigrants. I don't know if there is any country the size of ours that have a more diverse ethnic groups than we do. And if we were to go, that's why a world war is getting almost impossible because of that vision, folks. A world war is getting almost impossible because of the founding fathers' vision. We bombed Japan with 2 nuclear bombs. And today they are one of our strongest allies. 2 nuclear bombs. Normally, under no circumstance that happened, folks. But because we are a nation of immigrants, we have Japanese people right here, right in this country, in every part of our society. So that anger towards us has subsided to where they appreciate our culture. That's the founding fathers' views, folks. China is at that same point where they're less likely to go to war to us because there are many Chinese people in America that will take arms against China, folks. That's the founding fathers' vision. That's what it means to be a nation of immigrants. It's just not just words on a piece of paper or 1 minute to be supporting immigrants, the next minute to be trying to put them in in jail without any due process for eternity. That's what we have today. We have one party trying to crucify immigrants. We have the most hateful, bigoted people, white supremacists, trying to crucify immigrants. They poison in our blood. They poison our culture. They poison our days. They poison our water. They're trying to eviscerate immigrants from our culture. But they relied on the most poisonous, poisonous characteristics out there. Hate. They're relying and believing their hate can nurture something good. Something good can come forth from the hate. But hate does not do that. Hate is the equivalent to cancer. Hate is the equivalent to cancer. It destroys from within. It destroys everything it touches. It doesn't have empathy, sympathy, caring, loving like love. It's the opposite. Loving heals, hate destroys, especially the user of hate. So let them go, believing that something good will come out of their hatred, their bigoted self. They're just lying to themselves because their life is being destroyed slowly but surely. They need to take a serious look around them and see if any good is coming out from the hate. Because hate doesn't have, it cannot have any good within it. It's hate. It cannot manufacture something good because, once again, it's hate. So, yes, you're welcome to believe what you want to believe. But when you use hate as your primary weapon, your primary characteristic, you are also slowly and surely destroying yourself, your morals, your ethics, your integrity. That's why you see many MAGA cannot, doesn't, cannot, doesn't have any morale. They have a warp moral. If it's my God and all my people, it's okay to do whatever. You hear it all the time. All the time. They will talk about how respecting people. Just a simple example. Talk about respecting people. But at the same time, but at the very same time they talk about respecting people, they want to allow somebody like Donald Trump to disrespect everybody. It's okay for Donald Trump to disrespect everybody because he is on the winning team and I'm playing to win here. He's on my team. And I'm playing to win. So it's okay for him to destroy anybody, anything, disrespect anything. And you have seen that over again from the handicapped guy. He disrespected. I think that was his first to the Mexican people. He called them, criminals, and some of them are good, doing the crime and this and that. And these people just cheering, they laughing it off, and they don't realize they're spitting on the founding fathers' vision. Yeah, I'm just laughing it off. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, folks. This is my first video. I have made several videos before, some of them by mistake. One I made and I deleted that one by mistake. So everything is a trial and error for me. So hopefully, people out there listen to me and say, hey, this guy with his horrible accent cannot hardly speak, but somebody saying it resonated with me and willing to come on my channel. So welcome anybody that's would able to listen to this at some point. I welcome you to this channel. Everybody's welcome. Like I said, this chance for everybody. I'm not here to just debate Trump supporters. So no, I'm willing to take all calls, all callers. And I know some of them will call me nasty names, all kind of names. It's what it is. That's the culture we're in right now. We're in this environment where respecting others, you know, in any situation is very hard for a particular group of people. You know, for them, if that person is not on their side, they want to destroy that person. They don't want to show basic respect and common dignity. It just don't. It's not something they want to show. So I do expect a lot of people eventually at some point when they start calling the show to call me up in the names. I've gone through life experiencing that. So what's in another area of my life? That's life. Life goes on. But I just want to make a difference. I really would like to give the marginalized people a voice. I really would like to see some of them come on my channel and share their experience, because that's how we're going to get people to change. Accept them. You want to accept them, do change them, appreciate them, respect them. Respect immigrants. Because hey, we could have been in a different place today. The founding fathers could have made this primarily a white society. That's what Margaret doesn't want to realize. The founding father could have made it primarily a white society, put in place where white reigns. They had the reason for not doing that. They could abandon all immigrants too. MAGA. They also had their reason for not doing that. So welcome to my channel. And hopefully I'll get a chance to debate, have a conversation, whatever, with some of you. Because I am not the one who's going to sugarcoat nothing for you. Never doesn't do the sugarcoating thing. When you come on this channel and you talk about certain issues, you should know how it's going to affect you. You should know what tariff is doing to your community and to your family and to you. At some point, you have to go out to that alternate reality you're in and face the real world situation. What's happening now? Is Trump, what Trump is doing, is it good for you? Can you survive and prosper? Can you prosper with what he has put in place. At some point, you're going to have to decide that. Because you can pretend to live in your alternate reality all you want. But the pain is coming. And you have to decide, can I survive the pain? Can I prosper under this administration? That's for you to decide. Because eventually, it's you and your family that's going to feel it. You, your family, and the rest of us. Okay? Yeah. Talk to you another time, folks. I gotta go. I'm going to try to make these videos as often as I can, and eventually have a few debates, have a few call-ins. All right. Good night.